Quest'anno deve essere.
False accusations.
False accusation.
The proposition side and we have the opposition side. So you guys will talk again 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and at the second minute we will clap to remind you that you have 30 seconds left. So we can start with the first speaker of the proposition side.
For the most people, flying is way easier than driving a car. Even if driving a car has more accidents in comparison to flying a plane. People usually care more about the results than the consequences, and the same applies to nuclear energy. Nuclear energy, yes, it has a lot of consequences. It had accidents in the past, it has been proven, but it also has a duration of energy produced by all the consequences, so it can be proven to be better if we just can look at the present, since it has been evolving so much since the past. It's extremely dense. It's not like everyone thinks it's very polluting, it's bad for the environment. It's not true at all. Like, it can have consequences, but for the most part, nuclear energy has been proven to be cleaner, more cost effective, and easy to supply. It can be built in lots of places, in isolated areas, and it doesn't produce just as much waste like other classical energy sources like oil and fossil fuels. So if everyone can see to the future, they will see that nuclear energy is the future, is the way we put ourselves into the position of the young people and see, is this the energy I want? Is the energy that will bring us to a more cleaner future, to a more bright future that can take us in a path that has energy that can be more sustainable, that uses uranium. Uranium can be reused, reprocessed, it's a good, or that can be used for all kinds of nuclear energy plants. So you guys have a notion. In the US, over the last 60 years, all the wastes could fit in a football field. Okay. Thank you for hearing. Thank
Thank you. Now we will continue with the first speaker of the opposition side.
Hi everyone, I'm Ida and I'm from opposition side. Now I will introduce you nuclear energy. Nuclear energy is the energy in the nucleus or core of an atom. Atoms are tiny units that make up all matter in the universe, and energies hold the nucleus together. There is a huge amount of energy in atom-dense nucleus. In fact, the power that holds the nucleus together is officially called the strong force. Furthermore, a nuclear reactor or power plant is a series of machines that can control nuclear fusion to produce electricity. And now I will talk about cons of nuclear energy. Despite the visible advantages of nuclear power, some noticeable disadvantages are as well, which makes us question whether this type of energy is truly that wonderful. However, just as National Geographic mentions, the byproduct of nuclear energy is radioactive material, a collection of unstable atomic nuclei. These nuclei lose their energy and can affect many materials around them. Including organisms and the environment, radioactive material can be extremely toxic, causing burns and increasing the risk for cancers, blood disease, and bone disease. For many disadvantages are responding by very high upfront costs, malfunction can be catastrophic, uranium is technically non-renewable, and nuclear waste. And that's all my speech.
I would like to invite the second speaker of the Portugal Society to the stage. Okay, you may start.
So there is a lot of controversy in going against or for the nuclear energy. In some countries it's still not accepted. So as the opposition said, that there are some nuclear waste produced by the production of electricity in the power plants. But this type of waste can be bad for people and animals, so the environment. But it's not like all this waste gets thrown in the environment. They are contained in some secure places, and it's not that much. It's actually a really small quantity. And for example, it's harder to eliminate the pollution created by the coal than to contain this waste, this nuclear waste. And for example, there is no like the water that, for example, is used for the nuclear plants. It's not like this water gets thrown in the environment. This water is also contained inside. So even if we are scared, for example, for what happened a lot of years ago in Fukushima or in Chernobyl, it's actually improbable that that will happen again, because now everything is controlled by computers, and in the last years nothing has happened on this. Also, the waste can be actually reused. For example, in France, where there are more than 50 nuclear plants and they never had any problems with them, there they have some enrichment plants that take this waste that was done by the power plants, and then they enrich it and reuse it. So we have more uranium. So even if it's not renewable, like the wind or sun, we still have a lot of it, and also since we can reuse it for more than one time, it's still a big quantity of it.
Thank you. Now, the second speaker will present. Please wait. You may begin.
I'd like to talk about some cons. Even if operating nuclear energy isn't a very high cost, building them in the first place takes a lot of money. It's really expensive. There are needed many levels of safety. And even with those levels of safety, malfunctions can always happen. Disasters, huge disasters like Chernobyl. In 1986, we all know, we have all heard about it, how horrible it was. This disaster was the result of a flawed reactor that was operated with inadequate, untrained personnel. People died. It spread all around Europe. And to this day, there are still repercussions we have to suffer because of that malfunction. It can always happen, and people have radiation syndrome and were diagnosed with cancers, and they were sick. They died. 237 people, according to worldnuclear.org. Even more, even if the malfunctions don't happen anymore, they can be used in terrorist attacks, like Hiroshima in 1945, 6th of August. They can be used in war. People can be killed. It does help us, but at what cost? People's lives? Hundreds of people's lives. Not one, not two, thousands. And those places, are not habitable anymore. You can't live there for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. Do we want that? We do not want that. We cannot risk using nuclear power. It has advantages, but the cons will always be much worse. Thank you for your attention.
So we will continue with the third speaker of the. You may be there.
So the opposition team was talking about how building the nuclear plants is much more expensive than building the conventional plants. But you have to build much more conventional plants to have the output of a single nuclear plant. So it's kind of balances out. And also transporting the uranium is much cheaper than transporting copious amounts of coal across the ocean to places like Poland or Slovenia to fuel the plants. So it's much cheaper to transport the resources that we need of a nuclear plant. Also, the exploitation of these plants is cheaper than compared to the coal and oil. Also, the other argument of their team was that there were accidents, but the Chernobyl disaster was a long time ago, and since then the technology came a lot forward. And in places like France, despite them having more than 50 reactors and relying on their electricity pretty much exclusively on nuclear, there hasn't been any accidents. Also, there was a study done in the USA that has shown that the radioactive pollution that is emitted by conventional plants from coal and oil is actually higher than those produced by nuclear plants, because there's trace amounts of uranium and thorium in the coal that is burned there, and it's emitted straight into the atmosphere instead of being contained in secure areas. So it's much easier to contain the waste from nuclear plants than it is to contain the waste from conventional plants. So we have to ask ourselves if we can sustain the pollution and then take it out of the atmosphere, or if we just want to dig a hole and put some barrels in it, which is much easier. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for
Thank you. Now the last speaker of. You may begin.
Okay, so there's like problems that nobody talks about mining the uranium. It's like people work there and they are affected by radioactivity of this, and also it affects the ecology side, all ecosystems in these countries that are mining, for example Australia. Underground water will be polluted, and it's actually is. So it's like work people that works here to us that have energy. I don't think so. And also that nuclear waste. Of course it is, you could store it, but for how long? And we don't know how dangerous it is, because it's like new technology, and we don't know what it could happen when we just put it underground and wait what happens. I don't think so, it's a good idea. But the thing that we actually don't think about is like black swans that happens. We don't know when, we don't know what, but it happens. Like there's a thing that could happen, and we don't know what it is and how to prepare to this. So if, for example, the coal plants, it couldn't be that disaster. The uranium has 3.6 million megawatts hour per kilogram. So that's like insane energy that could make disaster like from Chernobyl, and you don't know what could happen to make this. And the last thing is fragility of all these things. Like if something happens, it would be a disaster, but like on other scale that we could imagine. For example, it would be whole Europe, and not like only 100 kilometers apart from this. So I think that all of it is fine, but it could be dangerous from not only us, but from our kids and kids of our kids. So I think that nuclear energy is too dangerous for us, and we couldn't use it this way that we want to say. Thank you.
So we will need some time to decide again.
Okay, so call us when you're ready.
Okay. Yes. They have like any number that they can provide. Yeah, I think this time was they kind of like themselves. Like they were like, okay, this might be happening. We have pros and cons. Thank you guys. So as a jury, we decided that the proposition side again wins. And there are a few things that we would like to remind about debate in general. So we actually came across with this problem a few times. You guys were contradicting with yourselves. Some of you said, okay, we have pros and we have cons. No, you cannot say that. You only have pros or you only have cons. You cannot agree with the other side if you're defending one side, okay? That was an issue that I actually saw with a few people. And other than that, I congratulate all of you because you did a really good job despite this is being your first debate. So thank you guys so much, and I also congratulate the winners as well. Thank you.
Ezra, can we also thank you? I think that Ezra deserves a huge thank you. And of course, the whole jury. Yes.
Hey, some of you look very sad.
Students and of teachers, yes, I want to offer a different point of view to this debate, is a geological point of view. You have debated in a beautiful way, so congratulations. And congratulations to your English teacher and congratulations to your intelligence. But you have debated in a way that is the typical way of the owner of the world. The man is the owner of the world, and you have demonstrated the typical complex of Robinson Crusoe. I don't know if you have read this book of Daniel Defoe, The Adventure of Robinson Crusoe. Yes, not? No, of course. And it's the adventure of a man who was abandoned in a little island and by the pirates, and he succeeded in survive in this little island, and the strange fact is that he transformed everything in this little island. After abandoned, he succeeded in grouping a group of sheep, and after he succeeded in making cheese, and after he started to as a farmer to cultivate wheat, and after he succeeded in having a slave. In a little island, he succeeded in having a slave. The name was Friday, and is the typical Englishman of the 18th century that is the owner of the world. So, why we are the owner of the world? There is no any explication. For the coincidence, thanks to a gift of evolution law, we are animals that have a bigger intelligence, an intelligence bigger than the other or than the one of the other animals. But it's just a coincidence. And the man, the Homo sapiens, is on the earth from just 150,000 years. And in this little range of years, just because we have a bigger intelligence of the other animals, we feel ourselves as the owner of the world. Think about the beetles. You know the beetles, that bad animals. They are on the earth. Yes, I'm finishing. They are, yes, to me. They are on the earth from 350 million years, and they don't feel themselves as the owner of the world. We are on the earth, but just for a bet. You know a bet? What is a bet? Scommessa in Italian.
It's a bet.
Yes, a bet. Tomorrow you win. Today you win. Tomorrow you lose. If an asteroid or if the climatic change will change our environment, we will disappear from the earth. So the conclusion is start to think of the all human beings as a possibility for a man to survive into this different, in this beautiful planet, and try to live in harmony with it. Okay, I've finished. Thank you.